Welcome back to the class for orals. What you have just seen is an incident of the engine room flooding. That means the seawater can enter in the electrical motors over there. So now we are going to discuss what are the actions taken if the motor is immersed in the seawater. Please do subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. We have to check the isolation of the electrical motor. That means we have to disconnect the motor from the power sources and we have to proceed for dismantling. Before that, we have to measure the insulation resistance, which is very much important, and it can give the value close to 200 ohms. Now since the seawater has entered in the motor, the saltwater contamination is going to develop and it requires a lot of cleaning process to reduce the possibility of salt residue, because salt can cause the rusting of the laminations and it may corrode the windings. For better results, we have to remove the salt, and the easiest manner is to wash the stator and the rotor by the fresh water for at least 8 hours before the salt dries and accumulate in the windings. You can see in the figure down, we have to dismantle the motor and we have to put the stator and the motor rotor windings in the water and continuously agitate the water, because it will not let the accumulation of the salt. We have to exchange the water with the rate of at least 75 to 190 liters per minute, and the rate can vary from vessel to vessel. After the exchange of water is done, you have to drain the water and take out the rotor and the stator from the freshwater tank. Now after the draining is done, we have to remove the water completely, which is done by wiping the water from the windings. And now we have got to remove the water by controlled heating, either in the dedicated oven or by the hot air gun or blower, or you can call it dryer, or by using the cargo cluster lamp. You can see in the figure down, the hot air gun or blower is being applied over the windings to remove the water completely by evaporation. Apart from that, the cargo cluster lamp is also hung over the motor, because it will give a high temperature radiant light which will remove the water completely by evaporation. And the hottest part of the machine shall not exceed the 90 degrees during the heating. For at least 12 to 24 hours you have to keep this cargo cluster lamp. So this is how the water is completely removed by evaporating. Now our target is on the ball bearings and the greasing. So we have to remove the ball bearings and replace them with the fresh ball bearing set, and we have to remove by the bearing extractor. You can see in the figure down, and we have to also replace any damaged or contaminated nipple or plug by the salt water, and we have to also remove the old grease by clearing it out, and we have to refill the fresh grease by the grease gun. You can see the process in the pictures. Since the seawater has entered in the insulation, so the insulation can fail and the motor can draw the heavy current. Hence we are going to test the insulation resistance for the motor windings. And after checking with the megger, the value should be at least 1 mega ohms. So we have to carry out this IR test. After this, we have to spray the motor windings with the red insulation varnish. You can see the figure down. The red insulation varnish is going to keep the motor windings intact and healthy, and it will keep the insulation resistance intact, and it will keep the motor windings free from corrosion. After this, we have to assemble the motor and turn by hand by the few revolutions to check the tightness, and now we are going to put the motor back into the service. I hope this video is very much understood that what actions are to be taken if seawater accumulation is taken in the motor. Thank you.